game.
Mass Effect 3 is quite simply one of the most spectacular games ever made. Observe.
You step back into this universe again, it starts to get torn apart by an explosive attack on Earth. The Reapers are here to kill everything, and it really is a war of the worlds, and our worlds are losing. On top of that, the controversial pro-human group Cerberus and their imaginatively titled leader, the Elusive Man, are constantly messing up your plans.
Shepard witnesses the deaths of many people on Earth, including the only child in the galaxy. This haunts his dreams, and it's the first sign that this journey for Shepard is going to be a dark one. Not everyone is going to make it out alive, and all bets are off, and that breeds for some rich storytelling.
Yeah, before we go any further though, Barjo, what is going on with your Shepard? I mean, look at him.
What's wrong with him? I was aiming for Scary Magician.
Despite all this, it's good seeing you again.
Oh, it's a combination of those lips and that pencil-thin mustache. Then he's got no chin. It just kind of has this weird bar of square flesh underneath his... Oh, I had nightmares.
Humanity has questions.
Because we played the previous games on developer consoles, we weren't able to import our save files into this one, so we started afresh. And heck, I've been on a bit of a journey with this Mass Effect because I've never really liked male Shep. I found his voice acting to be an average at best, and maybe it's just personal, but to take revenge, I wanted to make him look as ugly as possible.
How many civilians are dying while they wait for us to make the first move?
Yeah, well, mission accomplished.
While I've enjoyed each game, I've always struggled a little bit to connect with Shepard and the storylines, and I think part of it has just been because of male Shep, because 10 hours in I switched to femme Shep and I just started having a massively better time.
I'm Commander Shepard with the Alliance. I'm here to help.
It's such a different vibe with her. With him I felt like he was just a boring guy ripped from Gears of War, but with her I feel like she's a hardened space wizard soldier, you know, with the burden of the universe on her shoulders, and it just feels so much better.
Well, I think you're being a little bit harsh on male Shep. You know, he's not that bad, but I agree, femme Shep is loads better, or in my case, goth Shep. I mean, she just sounds more intelligent somehow, and you believe her more.
I'm just a soldier, Anderson. I'm no politician.
Although she's quite serious, all of the mouth options are downturned and frowny, and I would have appreciated a few extra hair options. I'm glad I could rock that black lipstick again, though.
Mass Effect 3 is a masterpiece of virtual construction, both visually and conceptually. It's stunning to put your eyes on at every turn, and that ebbing alien soundtrack is just as incredible as the last games. The use of flaring lights and colour and darkness is fine work, and it made me feel like each frame had real thought behind it.
Everything is in such high detail as well in both gameplay and cutscenes on either platform. We tested this on PC and 360, and you won't find any ugly vertical tearing or texture popping. It's consistently stunning whether you're bumping around on the dusty red planet of Mars or exploring some foreign space station or world. This game just has such scale, and to top it all off, they've improved the loading, so choosing whether or not to play this on PC or console really comes down to where your old save file is, or if you want to play with a mouse and keyboard or a controller.
Yeah, it's baffling the PC version doesn't have any controller support, no integrated support, so you can probably edit an INI file later, but in this day and age, not good enough. But action feels much tighter this time around on every platform. Previous games always had a bit of that RPG dice roll vibe to the health bars, but now the kick of weapons and the impact sounds feel strong enough to rival any third-person shooter out there. And how good do all the weapons look?
Ah, space guns, Barjo. And there's plenty for you to mod and play around with to suit your playstyle too.
I love a good space shotgun hex, but this game really does lend itself towards ranged focus classes, because you die so quick when your shields are gone. I still had such a good time playing with remote drones and shield attacks and crowd control. That combat is just so exhilarating. You still need to manually order your squad mates to focus fire if you want to take down enemies efficiently.
Roger that.
But Hex, I still felt like they didn't listen to me sometimes, and I think that might just come down to their own self-preservation within each fight.
I think they got the balance just right in terms of how much they get involved. They're not perfect though, and they still do stupid things sometimes, but the action is so frantic I hardly had time to notice them anyway. One of the biggest achievements and improvements is the way you're pulled through the levels and the enemy AI that aggressively engages you. Transitions from action to cutscenes are unmatched. It's just so fluid, and that camera swing to let you know it's go time is just wonderful.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, those transitions are super impressive, but they've really evolved the cutscenes too. It's no longer that standard BioWare character moves backwards, turns around, touches his face while he's talking, then comes back, although they do that a little bit. All the camera work and cinematography, it just looks like a great sci-fi film.
Oh, some of those big space battle cutscenes, I mean, they went all out on the cutscenes this time. And the levels are so interesting, and there's so many of them.
Go, Commander! I'll cover you from here!
I mean, I remember how restrictive Mass Effect 1 felt, and this feels so much more open in comparison. It's come a long way. You'll often be faced with environmental challenges that might disrupt your shield or boost the enemies, or they might simply just have the higher ground or flank you like crazy. There's such immediacy to the action sections. You know, it's go, 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 and I love the way the situation just changes on the fly, and usually for the worse. Overall, I just felt like it was less static, and those precursor cutscenes really give you a better sense of the universe.
What's the word? Do we know how long these scientists have been holed up out here?
Ma'am, I'm picking up chatter from a Cerberus squad engaging the supply depot.
Yeah, and they streamlined some of the more tedious bits too, like visiting the Citadel, although it does take a while to get around there, and Shepard bounces around just pressing A on a bunch of people and generally sticking her nose into everyone's business.
I've seen Palaven burning. Those fires aren't going out anytime soon.
I love how the loading screens are actually relevant now. I mean, it may sound like a small thing, but it just helps the pace of the game from the mission briefing to the landing. Some side quests are still simply clear out the goons, but even these are polished, and there's so many other missions that will blow you away. Enemies will surprise you as you fight, and combinations of enemy types will change your strategy.
Maybe we can fight these guys. Watch for it.
There's such variety in these enemies now, and they do that thing from Mass Effect 1 where they throw in one really tough guy, such as a shielded enemy or a mech, or the Banshees, who are terrifying. There's only one thing scarier than those Banshees. So much thrilling strategy in these fights, but you absolutely won't get a taste of it if you play on normal difficulty. You need to put it up. We found this pretty easy on normal, and you can change it at any time.
You can also play this on narrative difficulty, which is pretty much just God mode, but you'll blast through the game in like a quarter of the time, and there really isn't any strategy to it. Mass Effect isn't just a story about Shepard, it's about who you roll with.
You get a new scar every time I see you. Losing a step there in your old age?
Raise your hand if you haven't been killed before.
Touché.
While I loved the story in Mass Effect 1, the characters in Mass Effect 2 just didn't really resonate with me, and I know you weren't such a fan of them either. Did FemShep change things for you this time around?
I hoped you might give me some pointers.
That's funny. I figured you'd be more interested in a shower.
To a point, Hex. I still think there are some weak performances and moments here, but Mass Effect takes itself so seriously. That can be a good thing, and this does delve more into that personal journey of Shepard and how the weight of the universe is on his or her shoulders, and I like that, but they could just lighten up a bit.
Well, the galaxy is ending, Barjo. I mean, it's serious business. This is such a complex system of storytelling, too, with so many characters.
Still crack a joke.
Stopping the Reapers is the only thing we should be focused on. It's not your fault.
But what if we're wrong? What if there's no way to stop them? What if these are our last days and we spend them scurrying around trying to solve a problem we can't fix?
I just found that dialogue dragged a little bit, and if it was more snappy, perhaps I wouldn't zone out. And zoning out is a big problem in this game, because if you miss something, then you might get to a major decision point and have no idea what it's about, and that happened to me once or twice.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but one member of the Good Game team was actually able to port his save file over, and he said that he loved every single word of this game and had never been so invested in a game before. And I think because you and I weren't able to, continue our save files over, we weren't able to see those early decisions play out, and that affected things a little bit.
Yeah, it does show the importance of that spanning story, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's a shame for those who may have lost their save file or couldn't port it across for whatever reason, that there weren't more setup options to try and recreate that backstory.
Yeah, but even without the weight of those original decisions, I still found this game tugged at my heartstrings a few times, and I eventually started getting more involved in this story and more attached to these characters.
It's too late for me.
There are hundreds coming. Just go.
Move!
No! Rila! I love you.
But you know, it's rare for any game to evoke an emotion, so it's quite an achievement. And every time I started getting a bit bored with all the political chit-chat, of which there is quite a lot, something like this would happen. And I would just revel in the scope of this game.
And now there's a multiplayer wave mode as well. Hex, I'm not normally into these because I never feel like I'm achieving anything, but this one is quite addictive and it's really polished. Every time I felt like I wanted to get away, it would unlock a new character, or I'd get enough credits to buy a new pack to get some new gear, and I think they did a good job with it.
Now we should quickly talk about the voice commands. Now you can talk to these characters if you have a 360 and a Kinect. You can auto move locations, switch weapons, activate particular abilities, and respond in dialogue with your voice.
What'd you have in mind?
Something that doesn't involve fighting Reapers.
I don't think they've conquered the bar yet.
But how did you find it, Barjo?
I found in the combat, yelling out abilities was really fun and made the combat so fluid, but the hit rate was about 50-50 at the volume I like to game at, which is far too low for it to be practical, and I don't think it once heard me say incinerate correctly.
I found I use it mostly in the cutscenes. It's really nice being able to put the controller down and settle in for a long conversation and just lean back and speak your dialogue options. I thought that was really cool.
There were 137 regulations telling me I couldn't.
So you got them changed?
No. Now I just don't give a damn.
Yeah, I like that too, but then at one point I was in this really pivotal moment, which was a major decision in the game. So I instinctively went, oh, what do I do? And then it chose for me, and whether it was me or picking up some background noise from the TV, I don't know, but I was cut about that because I couldn't go back.
You know, Badge, this is such a huge and complete universe, and such a complete game as well. And while I do think our criticisms are valid, I don't know about you, but all of that just seemed to melt away as you get so lost and just immersed in this experience.
Yeah, the more I played with this game, the more I enjoyed it, and the more I started to realize that the things I didn't like didn't even matter. This is a remarkable achievement to span a complex story like this over 3 games, and it's just better in every single way to the previous 2.
And you know, it's so hard to articulate just how exceptional Mass Effect 3 is without showing and talking about all the major story events in the game and how they play out, but you'd hate us for that because it'd be mad spoilers. But trust us, this is champagne game design, and how it looks, how it plays, and how it involves you in the story.
So I'm giving it 10 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Yeah, it does start out as a bit of a slow burn, doesn't it? But once the action ramps up and all of the threads of your story decisions start to come together, it just blows you away, and there's no turning back, and there's certainly no putting it down. I'm giving it 10 out of 10 as well.
Double 10s, you know what that means, Hex?
Double 10 balloons!
Not this time. May I present to you the Good Game Team Double 10 Dancers.
Okay, let's never do that again.
No. We spoke to Robin the Berg from BioWare, and you can see that full developer interview on the website.
There are a few people in the galaxy who've seen me in action, Garrus. They seemed impressed.
Yeah, but I've actually seen you dance, Shepard. No comment.